Okay, we are live. Good morning to all of you who are joining us this morning. We'll start in a few minutes' time while we wait for those who are on their way to join us. So if you are already here, make yourself comfortable, get your drinks ready, and join us for the next 2 hours. Already here, make yourself comfortable. Okay, we're going to just wait for 1 more minute and then we're going to start the session. So if you are here, you might want to just leave a message at the chat so that we know that you are ready to go with us. You can just say hi, good morning to our speaker and to the rest of the participants while we just wait for a while for some more to join us, getting themselves online this morning. Hi, Evelyn, good morning. Polly, good morning. Julie, good morning. Who else is here with us? Let's feel. Hi, good morning, Lai Eng. Good to have all of you join us. Just a few more minutes as we wait for more to join us. We'll start about in a minute's time. Yeah. So if you are here, do send your greetings so that we know we are still in a community and connected virtually. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Jeline. Good morning. Yeah. So get your things ready. We are about to start soon. Okay, I think we will start. So before I start, just let me send my greetings to all of you for joining us this morning for this talk, maintaining emotional intelligence during the COVID-19. I think many times we are not so much in touch with our emotion, and especially during time of stress, our emotion may run wild. And I think it's a good time to allow to come back and to get in touch with our emotion. And I think this circuit breaker period allows us the time, or rather that the awareness that we need to be in touch with our emotion and how to keep ourselves sane and our emotion in check during this period of time. So this morning we are very glad to partner with Center for Seniors to conduct this talk. And so I'll pass the time now to Patricia, who will introduce a bit about the Center for Seniors, and she also introduce the speaker for this morning. And from there on, we will have the session. So the session will go in such a way. We'll have the first part, then we will have a Q&A where you can use the Slido link or the QR code to send us your question live, and we'll try our best to answer all the questions. Then we'll go for the second part. And then at the end of the second part, we'll have another Q&A where you can interact with the speaker, and we'll also pick up questions that you sent in to address them. And we'll end with some resources for you that you may want to look at for further help if you need to. So I'll pass the time now to Patricia. Patricia, over to you.
Unmute myself. Okay. Hi, good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us at this morning's session, Maintaining Emotional Intelligence, especially during this period, COVID-19, where all of us stay at home and work at home. Let me just give you a short intro. What is CFS, or Center for Seniors? I need Caroline to help me to move the slides. Okay, thank you. So in the next one, please. So CFS, we are a not-for-profit organization, and our purpose and meaning or our mission here is to actually to promote total well-being of older persons in Singapore. So when we talk about older persons, we're actually referring to people who are at least 50 years and above. So some people say, hey, 50 years, I'm not old, no. But in the eyes of the government, 50-year-old people are called seniors. So we cannot run away from the fact that most of us are 50 and above, and the Singapore population demographics show that we are in an aging population, and by the year 2030, that's only 10 years from now, every 3% when you walk out of the street, at least one is older. One is at least 65 years old. So imagine if you are now 50 or 55, 10 years later, you will cross the bridge to be 65. So our aging demographic is every 3% you walk on the street, one will be at least 65 years old. So because we are promoting wellness in terms of aging, when we reach certain age, when we reach 50, when we reach 60, or when we reach 70, what are we going to do with our life? And because we are in this aging space, we will continue to live longer, maybe even up to 90 years old. So if we were to, take stock of our life when we reach 60 or even 70, and if you're going to live till 90 years old, you have a good 20, 30 years more good years to live your life fully. So what are you going to do? So for CFS, we actually help our seniors to plan for we call it the third phase of their life, the next 20 to 30 years or even 40 years of their life. So if in this slide, you will see we look at your health longevity. So for health, we actually think of physical health, mental health, as well as aging. So we provide training and programs to cater to this area for better understanding how to care for people who are older, because all of us will have aged parents at home, and we are going to age as well. So how to take care of ourselves, mental health, physical health, and even caregivers' health, caregivers' wellness. They can be very stressed looking after aged parents who are sick. The next one is productive longevity. That means to say, as Singapore is moving towards this aging population, we have to rely on more seniors to return to work. And at the same time, we also have to prepare ourselves about work-life transition. If we are now in our mid-50s or even 60, how long can we work? For how many more good years can we continue to work? And if we can't do the job we currently do when we reach 65, then what other jobs can we do? So that's what we call work-life transition. Or if we don't work anymore, how can we find meaning and purpose in life? What else can we do to fulfill our dreams? So that's called work-life transition. And back to work seniors, meaning we want to help our seniors to return back to the workforce by providing them with new skill sets like being a medical escort, being a care associate, or you want to start your own business. And we help to match jobs for our senior job seekers. Financial planning is important. So whether you continue to work or you want to plan for your retirement, we all need to plan what we want to do. So we do programs like this. And lastly, social longevity. That means to say intergenerational bonding. How do we connect ourselves with family members, with the community? Can we become a befriender, to help the community, the aging population that we have? Can we be a volunteer? And what are the government schemes that are available to help us when we are older? So if you see the column on the right, you can go into our website on silver schemes. They will tell you what are the various government schemes that is available for people who are 50 years and above. And silver jobs is a portal that we help our seniors to find jobs. And then we conduct talks regularly on about job opportunities for seniors. Next slide, please. So these are some of the courses that we have, but don't worry, I don't want to give you too much information. If you want to know more, you can always visit our website or our Facebook. So the next slide, you will see how to contact us. Next slide, please. Yes, how to contact us. We are located at Bishan, Junction 8, but now during this period of COVID-19, we all work from home and we conduct online training or virtual courses for our participants. So you can reach us through our URL, our Facebook, or you can email us and contact us. So that's all. And I'd like to close what is CFS now and present to you our speaker for today, Caroline Ng, who is a trainer, facilitator, job coach, business coach, you name it, she does it. And she has some very extensive knowledge about EQ, about how to, about how to manage yourself in terms of happiness, in terms of your personal wellness. So Caroline, I will pass the floor to you so you can do a better introduction about yourself. Thank you, everybody.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I heard? Yes, good, fantastic. Good morning, everybody. How are you this morning? I hope that you had a good rest, and even though we are on circuit breaker, we should be enjoying our weekends. So let's see. This morning, we shall be talking about emotional intelligence and a little bit about myself. So as Patricia has very quickly given you a quick introduction of myself, I do wear multiple hats. One of my role every day, definitely I'm a mom. As you can see in the picture, I'm traveling with my family. I'm a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister. I'm also a lecturer at MDIS. I teach students. I take my students on competitions. On the other hand, I'm also teaching courses or speaking at such events. I'm also a WSQ coach. I do career coach people, and I do counseling as well. I'm counseling young people and also seniors. I'm a EXCO member of Ban Fok Tong Welfare Society at Hougang, where actually this circuit breaker, I've been super busy because I didn't want to be, I wanted to be able to support the community better. So this, ever since circuit breaker started, every day we've been delivering meals to the elderly and the low-income families in Alcan. And here you see me actually packing rations, which we send to 130 families. So to start the talk proper, what is emotional intelligence? All right, and I'm gonna have your participation. I'd like you to just follow the screen coming up next. What comes to mind when you see these two words, emotional intelligence? So if you will just use your handphone and follow the instructions here, go to menti.com and use this code 559299, and you will be able to key in what you think when you are in this particular screen. Can you see the screen now, menti.com? Okay, so follow this link, go to menti.com and use the code up there, 559299, using your mobile phone. Open your browser and you can key in the words emotional, what you think of when you say emotional intelligence. I'm sure a lot of you have a myriad of vocabulary that you could share with us. So let's welcome everybody to come on and key in the words, right? Let's see, do we have the first word coming on? Right, don't be shy. Yes, EQ. So go to menti.com, just type that into your browser and key in the code that is up there, and you will be able to participate in this activity to share with us what happy, angry, sad. Yes, of course. Awesome. We have our participants coming on. How to be diplomatic, manage self-control. Do we have more? Relationship, people. Awesome. Let's keep it rolling. You can key in as many words as you can. Happiness, people. Wisdom. Empathy, how wonderful. Mindfulness, relationship. Let's get this word cloud going. Awesome. Smart, emo, mental state. Diplomacy, awesome word use. Empathy. We have quite a few people thinking about empathy this morning. And our Singaporeans do have a lot of empathy, you know. In the last 6 weeks of my volunteering, I have a lot of young people and even actually people of all ages who reach out and say that they want to support the community, and they have come step forward with their time, with their donations to help in a small way what their community is needing. So it's really you know, gratifying to see this kind of actions. My young volunteers who will, you know, walk in the rain to deliver food to the akong or ama that they don't even know. So here, mindfulness, let's see which are the words that's coming up well more often. Adapting well, impatience, anxious, right, lost. Right, so let's see. Now, for emotional intelligence, let me share with you what it actually, what we can be talking about, right? And just take, so let me share with you this quote. We are dangerous when we're not conscious of our responsibility for how we behave, think, and feel. The three key words here, we are responsible for the way we behave, the way we think, and the way we feel. And very often when we are in our emotional state, we become unconscious of the way we behave, the way we think, and we feel. Now, next, emotional intelligence is the ability to sense, understand, and effectively apply the power of acumen of emotions as a source of human energy, information, connection, and influence. In short, emotional intelligence is really about you being able to manage the state of mental emotions that you're in, which actually will direct you to think about how you respond. In fact, trigger you how to respond. And in certain situations, you may have to be in total control so that the right words, the right emotions are expressed out. So emotional intelligence, essentially, if you look at this picture here, it's about managing our emotions, understanding the emotions we go through, how we use emotions to placate a certain situation or resolve a situation that we are in. And very often we are in situations where we do perceive the person we're communicating with, what emotions they are sending out to us. Have you had opportunities or where occasions really where you have perceived how a person speaks to you and interpret in your own language the signals that that person sent, and often the sender or the person you're communicating with actually says, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. So the way we perceive another person may be incorrect, and this is when we need to use emotional intelligence to manage the communication that we have with another person. Now, I'd like to share with you this quote. While you may not have power over what happens to you, you are able to control how you react to it, hence your state of mind. During this circuit breaker, a lot of us go through a myriad of thoughts, depending on the roles that you're playing within your home ground. If you are the wife, if you are a mother, husband, the child, the grandparent, other than facing the family members within the home ground, you yourself also have a lot of, shall I say, anxieties, or rather a lot of thoughts goes through your mind, and you actually are not speaking it out, but your body actions, the activities that you do are able to reflect out what you're going through, and this becomes unconscious, right? So anxiety presents itself in many ways, as you can see in this picture. Many moms during this circuit breaker have tried to control how their kids behave because they are not used to seeing how their kids are during the circuit breaker, because the learning style is not what they are accustomed to, right? And you also see the young people not going to sleep, or even you yourself as an adult have challenges falling asleep. And very often you may feel agitated, upset, angry because you can't do much. Um, I'll give you an example. I was feeling agitated with my kids. I have a teenager and two teenagers, in fact, and they are so afraid of going out. And I'm living on the ground floor. They're so afraid of going out that they don't even want to step out onto our patio to just do simple exercises. And that really got me angry. And I spoke in a very loud manner to my son and says, "What's there to be afraid? You're in your home ground." He says, "Mom, it's still open air. I am scared." So it's how we interpret what the person that you're communicating with is telling you. Do you read their fears, their concerns, right? And so they will show you different types of behaviors. That will be defiant. They may challenge you, and they may have very high expectations of themselves. During this circuit breaker, we can see two types of. I saw two main types of families. Families who really cherish this period of time where they will cook together, play games, experiment things together. And there are also families who actually will isolate themselves to their own activity area and do their own stuff. Everybody has their own way of coping with this, and really what is yours. And if you find that it's been challenging, you're not alone, but don't worry too much, because I'm going to share with you later how you can manage this feelings that you have. One thing I like to also share with you that during circuit breaker, because of those anxiety, the words that we use can sometimes be hurting, inappropriate, the tones that we use. In fact, in my journey, I'm halfway through my life right now. This language, the way we speak, the vocabulary that we use, the tone that we have, is often the main trigger in the response of the people we speak to. I came to realization a year ago, because of my own kids' response, that when we speak our concerns, they do not interpret it as concern. They interpret it as nagging. They interpret it as you're forcing me to do something else that I don't want to do. So during circuit breaker time, and actually not just circuit breaker, but in our days of daily communication with anyone, we should be minding the way we speak, the way we express ourselves, and improving the language or improving the vocabulary that we have is quite important. I was challenged one day by another friend to ask me, how many positive words can you say to your own child, when I was complaining to her that my kids are not responding to me. So here I'd like you to just think about this, is how often and how many vocabulary do you have? If I were to ask you the same question now, what can you say in positive affirmation, encouragement to your family members when you need to, especially when they are not feeling in their best state of mind or their best state of emotion? You know, truly, this statement, a lot of people have said that happiness is a choice. What kind of choice do we have? You want to be in control, or do you want to be controlled by your emotions? Personally, I have been having a lot of challenges because I was going through menopausal change. And to use my doctor's words, I went psychotic because I didn't know that I wasn't able to accept the change physically that I was going through. In fact, in the last 3 years, I have put on close to 30 kilograms of weight, which is quite horrendous. And in the last 3 months, I managed to actually lose this weight because I decided to stay in control. And the awesome feeling of being in control and being able to achieve new gowns. I'm now about another 20 kilograms away from my ideal weight, but at least I am wrestling control of my own life and not wanting to feel like, oh, everything's gone. So I was talking to my husband and my friend who has been supporting me in this journey of losing weight. And in actual fact, it was just last night that I said, I want to be in control. I want to be able to not to be angry, because being angry is tiring, in fact. Why did I let myself be upset and be angry so often? Just because I wasn't being in control? But in actual fact, did I try to be in control? Did I try to make things change? So there are 3 levels of happiness. And so level 1, pleasant life, level 2, engaged life, and level 3 is having a meaningful life. And to be truthful, when I started my menopause almost like 4 years ago, I lost a lot of positive emotions. I found no pleasures in doing anything. I didn't want to get out of my comfort zone. And I found excuses, and keep giving excuses to even eating healthy. I was eating junk food, and to people who are in the diet world, or rather in the nutrition world, it was known as non-functional foods. The amount of non-functional foods that I was taking was incredible. I was going through bottled drinks, you name it, Coke, 7-Up, all the soft drinks, every cup of coffee, tea that I was going through was laid with sugar, cream, very heavy stuff. But I was seeking solace in these foods, and I was eating instant noodles, processed foods. Until 3 months ago, I didn't realize how much non-functional foods I was putting myself through. And I was eating those just to get good emotions out, to seek comfort, eating comfort foods. So 3 months ago, I took a change. I decided that being over 100 kilograms, in actual fact, 105 kilograms, is definitely not ideal. It's definitely not good. I have problems with mobility. I have issues doing simple housework with like cleaning the floor or even cleaning the toilet. I found it a chore to even bend down to the fridge drawers to grab vegetables and stuff like that. Sweating is an issue. Walking is an issue. It doesn't give me a pleasant life. It's really, I'm not sure how many of you out there actually have this same situation with me. And I constantly pray that, give me the wisdom to overcome this. So 3 months ago, as I said, I embarked on this new journey. And since then, I have increased energy. I found ways to communicate with my family. so much so that I'm able to engage my husband to join me for my volunteer work, and he could see the interest that I have, and he journeys with me even when I do my cooking live shows, and he's actually my cameraman and helping me to research how I could improve my live cooking shows. So you will start to discover, and this is not the first time for me because I'm hitting 50. This is when I was younger, I went through a round similar to what I'm going through right now, but we are at a middle age, and this middle age really, you know, a lot of people use the word midlife crisis, and I'd like to introduce you to a new word called middle sense. Middle sense is coined from the word middle age plus the word adolescence. So if you hear the word adolescence, you will know that our teenagers go through hormonal changes, physical body changes. They want to assert independence. They have mindsets that they are trying to develop and so forth. And when we are at middle age, actually, we also go through the same thing. And that's why there are, these different levels of happiness. And we are, again, trying to wrestle control of the life that we're going through, because we have our kids growing up, our careers may be coming to a stagnant, and we want to find new ways. So being in control of your own happiness is actually really important. So how do we do that, right? So I'd like to share with you 5 key points here, okay? The first one being stay connected. How do we stay connected? During circuit breaker or even during non-circuit breaker days, how can we stay connected? Who do we stay connected with? Okay, stay connected with your friends. Rekindle old relationships or start new relationships. Start moving out of your comfort zone. In fact, it was very interesting that actually about 3 weeks ago, a primary school classmate started to gather all our class people from primary school, our primary 6 classmates come together. We found each other through Facebook, and then we start connecting each other, and we start discovering, hey, so-and-so is now like this, so-and-so is doing that. And that rekindle new relationships, old relationships, sorry. And then we start to realize, oh, you do know somebody that I know now. So staying connected actually can revive some old relationships that can make you very happy, right? Now, the next thing is actually be aware, right? Be aware of your surroundings, your landscape, what's going on, what's in trend, what everyone is doing. For example, why the young ones are so interested in watching Netflix, and why are they playing games? In fact, I was having a discussion, and quite a heated one actually, with some parents about the kids playing games. And to be honest, if you were to ask me, did I stop my kids from playing the games? I did for a short while. Then I relented, because I could see that they are communicating with their friends. They are not able to go out. So what else can they do? What else can they play together? So for the boys, they are playing online games together, and they're interacting. I can hear their conversations of them telling each other what to do. And I think this is their way of supporting each other. I have heard of girls who stay on Zoom, connected hours for a day in their room. And some of the moms is like, my girl's on Zoom all day, they're just talking to their friends. What about we, their parents? They're not talking to us. The young ones actually need to stay close to their friends, because that's their security blanket, that's their comfort zone. Imagine the cartoon character Peanuts, right? and what is that his name? I can't remember now. But there's this guy that is always, is it Charlie, that is always carrying his, little smelly blanket, right? But can you also be aware of your own needs? What can you do, right? So be aware of what's trending, be aware of what the people around you need, and more so be aware of what you yourself will need, right? And try to practice self-care. Care for yourself first. What do you want to do during this circuit breaker? Maybe it's time to clear a bucket list on your own. Someone actually suggested to in online platforms that decluttering is a good exercise to do during this circuit breaker. Have you tried that? Now, next will be kind. Be kind in many ways. Be kind in our actions. Be kind with our words. Be kind to the people around us. And actually, by doing this kind acts, and I'll bring up the word be considerate and help others, will bring out the oxytocin in you, and you will feel satisfied because you will find satisfaction in doing things for people and bring yourself to a level of mental state that you probably have not felt for a while. And very often, by doing such acts, you actually become appreciated by people, and receiving a smile from others can put a smile back on you. So this circuit breaker, so I live on the ground floor, and my floor has 3 other families. And between the 4 families, we've been feeding each other. I have young kids, very young toddler kids in one unit, and their mom has been keeping them in the home grounds and playing around in their home grounds. And for us, we actually support them by making foods that they could eat so that they can enjoy and they can have fun. Be considerate. Be considerate for your family members, that they may need that space to unwind themselves. There are parents who actually told me, or there are adults who told me, why my husband or why my wife or why my kids need to unwind? We're all at home together. Why can't we talk together? Why can't we do things together? I think we probably need to understand that everyone unwind or release their concerns, release their stress, their worries in different ways. So I'd like you to actually look at this ABCD itself. Is if you want to manage your emotions or even avoid the conflicts at home, is using these 4 keywords here. A, ask yourself how you feel. Is that really how you want to feel? Do you really want to be angry, or you're just being triggered and just responding simply because you didn't know how to respond, or you just felt that you were triggered, and whether it's necessary to behave that way, right? I'll cite you an example here. During this circuit breaker, in fact, I've gone from being a authoritative and authority parent to one that is permissive, or to a certain extent non-involvement. I've given my kids their own space. They can do anything they want in their room. I still do nag a little bit. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm quite a nagger. And I'll ask them to tidy up the room. One of my boys is very creative, and he does all kinds of things in his bedroom. He's created his own living room in his room. He's created his own cozy space, because that's how he wants to feel secure or comforted. So I often ask myself, is that the right thing to do? But if he's doing that and he's not unhappy, and I can actually stay out of that zone, why do I want to get upset, right? So we don't want to get upset unnecessarily, because being upset actually expends a lot of our energy, right? Now, if you do get angry, right, and you ask, like I said just now, you ask yourself, do you really want to be angry? Do you really want to be upset and get triggered, right? At this stage, I would encourage you to breathe slowly, and we do it this way, and you could try it together with me. We will count to 5 when we breathe in. We will hold at 5, and then we will release at 5. So we go 2, 3, 4, 5, and we hold our breath 2, 3, 4, and 5, and you let all the air out of your body, and in a way you kind of like releasing all the tensions in your body, and you'll be fine. So when we are breathing, we're also doing that next step called when we count. So here we say count to 10. So I've actually walked you through a 5, 5, 5. You count 5 times when you breathe in and hold, okay, and you release. All right, that's one method. And of course, you can divert your attention from what you were doing and do something else so that you can change your emotion state. Okay. Now, short-term strategy. So that's quite kind of like what I've shown you just now was for immediate, like you're triggered in a particular situation, right? And now we're gonna go for a slightly longer situation where you feel that you can't release, not in that particular moment, and you need a few hours, probably maybe a few days. The first thing would be really similar to the immediate situation that you were trying to get yourself out, is find ways to change the emotional state. How do we change the emotional state that we have? Number one, think positive stuff. I'm trying to find out why are we getting angry, and actually the best way I've actually asked myself is, why do I need to get angry? Do I want to get angry? And is it necessary to get angry? And my husband actually is my alarm clock. And if you have somebody in your family that can be your alarm clock, it would be awesome. Recently, circuit breaker has kind of like upset our family lifestyle. In fact, our eating hours, or rather the kids' eating hours, have actually gone off balance. And I was a little, not just a little, I was kind of, okay, using kind of is too mild to put it. I was upset, and I was rambling, and a little bit of throwing, putting it mildly, I was throwing my temper. And going on saying, I spend all this time in the kitchen cooking, you know, while even though I have to balance all the work on hand, why can't any of you appreciate that I'm coming out to cook? And my husband said, well, do you want to, if they don't want to eat, just leave it there. Why do you want to get yourself upset? Or change your way of approaching it. Wait till they ask you to cook. Then you don't have to get upset. Then you feel better, right? Because they ask you to cook. And if you want to cook and you did it, why are you getting upset? You didn't ask for the food. And if they want to go hungry, they can go hungry. There's food in the fridge. They can cook themselves. They're old enough. So having a partner that can tell you these things, and of course we need to take it positively, right? For this to happen. So changing your emotional state, whether having somebody to remind you, or actually be just in tune with the situation, and ask yourself, is it necessary? Do I need to be angry? And why did I get angry? And what's the purpose of getting angry? It will help you to change your emotional state. And that's when we take action, right? And not let that anger seep into our mind and take over the control, and not let it, is like boiling and growing it. So that's how we take action. And we could take different steps. We could change or do something else so that we can move on. All right. So becoming aware of your own emotions is actually very key, because, and here is the word that I like to use, is becoming aware of your emotions. I would like you to think about the word conscious. A lot of people like to use the word mindful, but being mindful, it's like minding yourself, but conscious. I like to use this word conscious. And I've been, especially in my personal journey of the last few months, I felt that being conscious was really key in the change that I have achieved. Why? Because I was conscious of what I was eating. I was conscious of what I was buying. I was conscious of what is going in my food and what I'm eating every day. And by being conscious, I was in control of what I could be going through, and I knew I have a choice. When you're conscious of the things around you, you can decide what you want. It's all in your own hands, right? Most importantly, the last one, just like how we do the breathing, we need to have a relaxed mind, and that's when happy emotions will help you to have that as well. Okay, so some simple tips here on how to manage when you have anger. And it's not just anger that you can use these tips here. It's whenever you feel like you're out of sorts, when you feel that you've been triggered, start to identify what actually upsets you, and start wondering or question yourself, is it necessary? And whether it's that life-threatening maybe, and is it going to, if being angry is going to make any change to the response from the people that you're angry with actually, will they be more happy, or they're just going to ignore you? They're not going to respond to you just because you're angry, right? So identifying that trigger and the telltale signs is actually good. What I've been doing personally, I do get into arguments with my husband. Do you? I'm pretty sure you do, right? And what do you do when you get angry? I have been doing this for myself. I will accept it, and I say to him, yes, I hear you, and I may not accept what you say now, but I will give what you say a thought, and then after that, I let him speak his mind. I think sometimes for our spouses, they are showing their concerns by responding in that way. So let's not be triggered by the concerns from our partners or the family members they're with. Why are we not able to accept certain languages or vocabulary from our families, right? So identify that. What is it that you cannot accept, and why is it that we can't accept? Yeah, talk to somebody, talk to your friends, text your friends. And today, even though we can't meet our family members, Zoom with them, right? Other than Zoom, you can use Google Meet and a lot of stuff, and you still can talk to your friends. You don't have to be surrounding yourself with minding the home matters throughout the whole day. You can be texting friends. You can be watching your movies. You can be even playing games with your friends online. talk to your friends, share recipes, and so forth. I have a group of lady friends who are who actually challenge their friends to on Facebook and on WhatsApp. Hey, I have this in my kitchen. What can I cook today? And they start communicating in that sense, right? So try something different, and you may find that it's actually quite interesting, and you may get new responses. Lastly, exercises. Of course, now circuit breaker we can't do much, but you can do some form of exercise at home. There are lots of videos on YouTube and on even on Facebook where PA is also screening live of exercise classes. So try doing that. Yes. Now there's a very last 2 points here, which I find that is also very important, is actually reframe our thinking, reframing the way we speak, reframing the way we feel. And this actually links with the first one that I share with you, is about identifying the triggers, right? Reframing how we feel, reframing the way we want to express ourselves is very important. Stepping away gives you the chance to reframe your thoughts and the words that you choose to share with people as well. Okay, so before we end this session, as I was saying just now, let's try these 5 things for you. Pick up a new skill during this circuit breaker. Have you tried doing something different given this time that you're at home? Other than working from home, I know a lot of working persons actually have much more heavier workload than even before circuit breaker days. I have my volunteers who tell me that the reason why they came out to volunteer on the weekends or even in the evenings, so that they can do something different, so that they can actually get out of the hair of their family members, but more so they wanted to be able to contribute to the community, right? And have you done decluttering in your home? Like maybe there are things that you do not want, that doesn't make you happy anymore. Yes. So one more thing that you could do definitely is spend time with your Bible, read the words of our Father, and of course, don't forget that you can have virtual communications with your friends. And now we will hand over to Kwang Mei for your Q&A. Kwang Mei?
Yes, thank you, Caroline, for that first part of the talk. And I think what you have put up for us, 5 things to do during the circuit breaker, is very helpful, right? To pick up a new skill, set aside time for exercise, declutter, meditate, reflect, and to plan virtual hangouts. I think these are very good advice for us, especially during this time of circuit breaker. So I'm going to stop your sharing so that I can share the QR code. Maybe you can, yeah, let me just.
Yes. There we go.
Yes, thank
Control.
you. Okay, so here we are. That's the first part of the sharing itself, right? So now we're going to take questions. So if you have any questions that you want to ask our speaker, Caroline, you can do it 2 ways, right? Either scan this QR code here or to go to slido.com and key in #PLRMC. And you can key in your questions and we will pick those up and try to address them as much as we can. So while we are waiting for the questions to come in, maybe I can have just start with a questions for Caroline. Because we are having circuit breaker and I guess the ability to adjust this whole circuit breaker, the sudden restriction of movement, and suddenly you find that you're confined to a space. How would you advise someone who is usually very outgoing, very extrovert, and they need They need to have social interaction. Need to have time with people, crowd, those who need to go out, you know. And I mean, to a certain extent, they might feel some kind of anxiety and that inability to adjust to it. So I was wondering whether you have any suggestions or any wisdom for people who are in that kind of situation.
Yes. So that a lot of people, in fact, it's just not not just everyone, whether you have been extroverted before or not, is not the key thing. In fact, everybody feels claustrophobic. Let me share with you. I have in my routes of sending food to the elderly, I have this akong who, when I send the food to him, his family, he is sitting. Can you guess where he's sitting? He's sitting by the stairways.
Oh.
So, you go up the HDB block flats, right? And they have their staircases. And Amma came up to receive the food, and then Akong came up to say thank you. And I was like, where is that thank you coming from? And Akong was actually sitting at the staircase, reading his newspapers. So finding your own space, finding activities that you want to do actually can help. So, for example, during this circuit breaker, many people have done different things. I have actually some seniors who started to learn how to use the gadgets. They ask our volunteers for help, how to use WhatsApp. They learn new skills, right? And during this circuit breaker, I think a lot of my neighbors have become very good cooks. They've been sharing food. So what happens is this, and we've been doing it on my floor as well. We'll take turns to cook dinner, and then we'll send dinner to each other's home. So we will WhatsApp each other first. Who's cooking what tonight? Yes, and we'll send food over to each other. So this way we get varieties and we don't get bored. But having Zoom hangouts or really even WhatsApp video calls does make a difference. There are many ways that you can do it within the boundaries of circuit breaker. Actually, you could do simple exercises. Even if you're just at home, you can take a chair and just do leg stretches or do simple squats. Challenge your family to do it together with you. Do something different, right? Pick up another book that you've not read, or take out the things that you've been doing halfway. Of course, you probably say that you may say that this is the general advice that everyone has given. Is there anything different that we could do? Yes. Start finding, understanding what else you want to do for yourself, which I'm going to talk about in our next set of talk later in the next topic. Start discovering for yourself what else you want to do after this circuit breaker. Make a bucket list, right? For a lot of my mom, she's in her 70s, and my godmom. I asked my godmom, so what have you been doing? She says, oh, I'm actually watching all the stocks. I'm getting ready to make my next investment. She is making her own research on the stock market. Well, she's always been doing that, but she says this circuit breaker is causing a lot of changes. I'm noting down all these changes, and I'm getting ready to make my next bet. So there are many ways. She misses her grandchildren. She misses having to cook for them. So she actually tries to cook it for herself in small ways and experiment new dishes, so that by the time the grandchildren can come back to a place for dinner, she's got things to wow them. So she actually experiments them at home and then take pictures and send to her grandkids. I think that's quite cool because it keeps the communication going, it keeps her busy, and the kids have something to look forward to as well.
Yeah. I think that's quite a good advice to keep yourself busy. I mean, for
Yes.
people who needs that activities, extroverts
Yes.
need to do
Yes.
something,
Yes.
need to keep
That's
themselves
right.
moving.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while we are still in the conversation, if you have any questions, do use your phone to just scan the QR code, and you'll be brought to the Slido page where you can give us your questions. If not, you can join. Just key in the link at slido.com, and once you go to that link, you will ask to key in the code, and you can just key in hashtag PLMC, and we'll be able to pick up your questions from there. So yeah, there are a few questions here. So the first one, Caroline, for you
Yes.
is EQ something that you're born with, like IQ?
Um, we all have EQ. It is like we have abilities to do many things. However, we undermine it very often because we don't become aware and we're not conscious that we have emotions and that we can stay in control of that. So that's why very often when you ask people, when we did the word count just now, somebody actually typed in that it's about anger management. And a lot of people think that emotional intelligence is just about anger management. Actually, it's not. It's one of the words in word count was diplomacy. And another one I like to share with you is perceptions. Perceptions of how people are being responding to us, perceptions of how our perceptions of other people, and we have our own interpretations of what the respondents are giving to us. And very often, because of this, our own perception, our own interpretation, we misread how these people feel. And that's when we lose the emotional intelligence that we have, because we want to take our own interpretation. We did not understand that when these people behave in this manner, they're actually sending signals to you that they're actually needing some form of care, attention. I give you a very simple example. I'm pretty sure our audience here today, several are also teenagers, parents. And today we actually have a lot of teenage suicides, or rather the teenagers are actually going through a much complex environment than we, as their parents, have gone through. Their world is a lot more challenging because they are inundated with information and they don't know. And in fact, for these young people, as my kids grow up to be teenagers, I actually forgotten that they start to worry, they start to assume new thoughts, and they start expressing in their childish ways. And we think that, why are you expressing it this way? You are a teenager now. You should be more mature. But we forgot that it could be first time for them experiencing whatever they're going through or whatever the feelings that they have, and they don't know what to do. They have no clue. They have no tools. And we as parents may misunderstand them because we forgot that they are going through hard times or that they actually need comfort. So practicing emotional intelligence, as I mentioned earlier, is being conscious, be aware, be in tune with the people you're communicating with. What they are sending signals to you, it could have been accumulated over a period of time, and it just needs one trigger, like a flick like that, and they could just burst because they've been containing it within themselves. And that trigger, and you could be the victim of that response. So sometimes when people respond, it's not because they are angry with you or because they want to respond that way, but they just couldn't contain whatever emotions that they have, and they had to release it out. And it could be because you are their comfort zone. It could be their security blanket. They felt that they're safe in your presence, that they could release those emotions, and they probably wanted to seek your understanding or your support, but they probably put it in a way that sound angry, upset with you, and that's how miscommunications happen actually.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just wondering, just to kind of summary, when we talk about emotional intelligence, is really how to manage our emotion wisely, right? And
Yes.
sometimes when people express in a way that is in anger or irritation towards us, it might not be their target of being angry
No,
or
that's
irritated
right.
is not us, right?
That's right.
It's the way they express, maybe they find comfort
Worries?
or security in you and
Yes,
worries, like what you say. Yeah, good,
that's
good.
right.
Thank you. Yeah, the next question is, well, I'm not too sure how you're going to answer this. Maybe you can just give a
Let's try.
few
Let's
words
try.
of wisdom. Yeah, it says,
Sure.
how to get along with a family member under one roof who gets angry easily. Right? How to
Okay.
get along with a family member under one roof who gets angry easily. You know, it's as if that there's always something that that person finds it unsatisfactory. So any wisdom for that?
Okay. Um, this is going to be I'm going to share with you my personal experience. Okay. Um, I was one angry person, very angry. And anything and everything that my family members say to me, I would just like burst into anger. So recently, my sister, I was doing, well, I was doing my volunteer work, and I didn't know that one of my volunteers actually is a friend of my sister, and her name popped up, or rather, her name appeared in the volunteers registration. And I asked our volunteer, oh, you know this person? This person's name and phone number looks very familiar. And I said uh, to her, this is my sister. So anyway, long story short is that my sister saw me at the center, and then after that, she actually texted me. And the reason why my sister texts me is because I get agitated very easily in the past. And she says, Dad, you are very different now. You we didn't dare to talk to you in the past, but because you were always easily triggered. And so I stayed away from communicating because I didn't know what I can say will comfort you. But today I want to tell you that I'm very happy to see you doing what you're happy with. And I hope that you can um, continue to do this work if that is what's going to make you happy. And I must tell you, this happened, I think, 4 weeks ago when we first started Circuit Breaker. She actually came down to help out. And it has improved our relationships. We're starting to talk a little bit more. Somebody needs to take the first step to actually give encouragement or to share or to express the discomfort. But it's the way we put it across. It's the language that we use. It's the vocabulary. As I mentioned earlier, how much vocabulary do we have, and what kind of vocabulary does the person that your family, the unhappy family person that you have needs? Understand that person, research about that person. Maybe there are some core issues that he or she is going through that he or she can't resolve on his own. And maybe you can be you could try to be their listening ear or observe. But I think more often than not, people need affirmation. They need encouragement. They need to know that they have a support team. They have a cheerleading team. And in actual fact, my journey during this period, while I was learning a lot of stuff, my husband has been my cheerleader, encouraging me to go ahead, do the things that you want to do. If 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 you do fall, don't worry, I'm here to help you. And that is very comforting, and that actually helps to release the worries or the tensions that I have within myself, so I don't have to get upset because I know that someone is able to help me. So I think if we can give that kind of affirmative support, encouragement, it doesn't have to be words sometimes. It can be just small actions. And if you remember the 5 languages of love, we can give in different ways. We can give in terms of time, actions, service of words, gifts. And it's not about expensive gifts. Sometimes it's a piece of note, and that can help. I hope this answers our audience question.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, as you were speaking, I was just thinking also about the language of love. Maybe you can help us to revise what are the 5 languages of love so that we are more aware of how people receive love.
Yeah, let's do it together. I'm sure you also know that, Kwang Ming. So the 5 languages of love, you've got acts of service.
Acts of service.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you have gift of time.
Time.
Right?
Yeah, quality time.
Yes, quality time. And you have, so I said acts of service,
acts of service, quality time. What about gifts?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Gifts, you can do gifts. What about the way we speak, the words that people just need that? And very important, touch.
Yeah,
sometimes
touch.
It's you may just need to hold that person's hand or maybe give that person a hug, and that gives them that security feeling that they're still loved. That if you remember, I'm sure the mummies will remember that when you hold your babies, the baby, and you cuddle them and you hug them, their crying will stop. So we human beings goes back to that core of remembering that security. So when you are having that skin touch, in just by holding hands like this, actually you're giving comfort to that person. It's like we always say, if you handhold that person to go through a journey, it means a lot to somebody.
Yeah, thank you. Well, while we're still answering questions, you can still send in your questions to us through this QR code or go to slido.com, key #PLMC, and we'll be having your questions. Right, the next question is how to handle your emotions when your elderly parents keep doing something you feel not right.
Sorry, I missed that question.
Okay,
You were saying?
one more time. How to handle your emotions when your elderly parents keep doing something you feel not right.
Okay. Now, actually, I think a lot of us middle age have elderly parents who are constantly doing that, and you may want to think about it. Why are they not doing it right? They could be going through, they are also going through body change. And in fact, they are trying to find their independence, or they are trying to do things to challenge themselves. I have an elderly father at home. He is weak in walking. In fact, he has Parkinson's. And he still wants to travel. He still wants to go to visit his friends in Penang and so forth. And to a lot of us, that is probably not the right thing to do, incorrect, right? So do you tell him and stop him from traveling? Would you? I think you would, right? So between me and my sisters, what we have done is we built a safety net around him. We ensure that he is being accompanied by his friends. We leave our phone numbers with his friends that he is visiting, that should anything happen, he can call us. We don't want to stop my father from doing the things that he still wants to do, because that actually makes him feel that he is still in control of his life and that he's not reliant on other people. Sometimes at their age, they still want to feel that they are youthful. So they may do things that you don't agree with, because when you don't agree with what they do, it's because you're concerned for their abilities or their safety or their health, and you probably feel that it's not right. They are probably trying to assert their own independence, and they don't want to be reliant on others. I have my mom on another situation where she knows that she is getting agitated, and so she will go out to exercise, and sometimes she forgets to tell us, or she doesn't leave messages behind, and partly because she is slowly losing her memory, and we actually didn't know. Okay, so maybe your parents are actually going through medical conditions, and you may want to have that checked out, because these symptoms are hard to detect. So it could be just at the start, the trigger, and it's good to observe why are they doing the wrong things. Again, back to being aware and being in tune. Try and understand why they're doing that. Don't get angry with them, in fact, but try and find out why are they still doing it. But don't do it in a questioning manner. Observe what they're doing and how they try to do it. Are they trying to feel that they have not lost their abilities, or are they really being they could be really be in a situation where they are not able to remember certain things anymore. They do age, and they may lose their ability to remember that they can't do certain things.
Yeah, thank you, Caroline. I think we'll pick up the rest of the questions at the second part of the talk. Maybe to give you a bit of rest, we're just going to take like a few minutes for Caroline to have a sip of water at least, right? Then I will continue with the second part. So, the meantime, you can still send in your questions, right, through this QR code or through the slido.com link, and we'll pick up your questions, as many as we can within our time, right? And any questions that we are not able to pick it up during our live session here, we'll see how we can address them at a later part if we are able to do that. So maybe just take a 2-3 minutes rest for each one of us. Get your drink, get your coffee. If you need to rush to the washroom, you can do it now while we get ready for the next part of the talk itself. So really thank you, Caroline, for the first part of the talk. For it's very informative and really help us how to deal with the emotions of self. I was just thinking about myself and my family. This circuit breaker period. I mean, I'm not sure whether you have seen this picture, where it says that during this circuit breaker, some becomes professional baker, some becomes Olympic baker, some becomes professional hairdresser, but for some of us, we only end up become fat.
Yes, you want to watch that actually. My the estate I've been living in, some of our neighbors were quite mindful about that because there was just so many group buys, and a few of us were just saying that we better watch what we're eating and what we're buying, because we're not moving around much. We're quite sedentary. So it's a good time to start cooking healthy and be selective with the foods that we are putting on our table.
Yeah. So I was looking at that, and to certain extent, it's quite true, that we become baker and hairdresser because of our necessity. Yeah, I think the other good thing about that comes out of this circuit breaker, I mean, if you are able to have understanding towards each other, being aware not only of our own emotions, but also the emotions of the other family members, and helping each other to manage it, I think we'll be able to go through this period in a better way. What do you think about that?
I think during this circuit breaker, it allows you to really learn how to give each other space and time, individual space to do their own stuff. But at the same time, you could also look at how to how your partners or your family members want to do certain things. It's a good time to observe, but it's not a good time to make too many commentaries about your family members' actions, because they could be frustrated, they could have anxiety. But it's good to actually participate or join your family members. I'm not sure about you, Kwang, but do you have kids?
No, I don't have.
Okay, so my two boys, I have two boys, and my younger son, as I was mentioning earlier, he's very creative. And during this circuit breaker, he's been doing all kinds of stuff. He finds his own way to release his he gets upset with his friends, and he was trying to resolve that within himself. And one day he spoke to us angrily, and my husband signaled to me, and yes, so we kept quiet, and then he kind of stomped in and out. And normal days we would have, I would have just gone, why are you doing that? Why are you throwing your anger at us? And he says, Mom, I don't know how to express it, but I need to release it. So if you can give a listening ear to your family members, you probably understand why they responding this way or behaving. It may not be towards you. It could be them dealing with certain situations that, communicating with their friends digitally, and they're struggling.
Yep. Thank you. Karen, whenever you are ready, we can move on to the second
Sure.
part of your talk.
Okay.
So do join us back if you are still in your kitchen making coffee, right? We're going to start the second part in maybe in a minute's time. Yep.
How do you like this picture, Kwang?
It's very nice. I mean, it's soothing, but on the other hand, it kind of shows two different things, right? It shows one where it's vibrant and live, but on the other side, it's like, yellowing, turning black and dry. Yeah, so it's I'm not too sure. It's kind of a split personality.
So maybe I let me interview you for a couple of minutes here. So when you see this picture, did it make you feel uneasy, or what kind of thoughts went through your mind? Like you said, you said that you not sure what to make out of it.
Yeah, I was looking at it, and I mean, the first impression to me was it's kind of serene, calm, right? Because there's not much movement, and there's really nothing much there except the tree and the land itself, and the white sky. But at a closer look, there's actually two parts to the picture. The left and the right actually looks different. And while my tendency is just focus on the part where it's green and bright and have life. So the other part, my first impression was maybe it's the sea, and this is like seaside. So in the end, it still gives a very nice picture of a sea and you have greenery. So serenity itself, yeah.
I'm glad you saw that, because it means it actually helps me to interpret what you saw is that you're actually very optimistic, and that's why the greenery actually speaks to you, right? And you want to see positivity in your life. So today we're going to talk about this, is how do we adapt to change? How do we prepare for the change ahead of us? I just had my 48th birthday, and I've already been in menopausal state for coming to, I think, 4 or 5 years now. I actually 5 years. So during this last 5 years, I've been going through a lot of changes, from body state. I mentioned just now that I actually hit 105 kilograms in my last gynae check about 4 months ago. And that really threw me off. When I stand on the weighing scale, it was very scary. I'm not kidding about that. When you look at the weighing scale and you see 3 numbers, it's like, what kind of obesity lifestyle have I been leading, And so I'm going to share with you as a middle-aged person going through change and how we can actually manage this change, right? So if you look at these pictures I'm sharing with you, you will see that the technology or the things that we used to have has changed. How many of you can recognize these equipment, right? I still remember the one on the right-hand side and the left-hand side, because this was what I saw in my dad's office in the 70s. It's the telex machine. And if you do remember this, you are same age as me or slightly older. Typewriters. Okay, first we had the manual typewriter, and the technology moved it to electronic typewriters, and then we have computers today. And if you look at our phones that change, and from here, we needed operators to connect, and now we actually have mobile phones. Okay, computers. These were the giant computers that we have, and this was the very first Apple computers that was in the market, right? So now, what's the current trend? Current trends here, there are a lot of technology and communication advances, so much that is actually causing change in social development, and we are all very connected because of this, because of the gadgets, because of our social scenes, your WhatsApp, the Facebook, Instagram. And some of us actually may not be on these platforms, but our young ones, the younger generation, they are very much connected to their society, to their social circle in this aspect. And there is a lot of change, and especially this circuit breaker, I think we have seen a lot of people losing their job. And also we see businesses not being able to survive this change, this disruption. There's a lot of volatility right now that's going on. To the extent right now we have robots taking over some of the tasks in our work landscape, right? And recently, and this is during circuit breaker, you probably read this, there are park patrols where, because we're trying to have social distancing, right? So we have these robots to actually tell people not to stay in the park and to go home and to remain, to have their 5 meters distance when you're jogging in the park. This is the type of progress that we have. And prior to this, we have policemen on the Segway moving around in the park. But now because of circuit breaker, new technology is being deployed into maintaining such scenarios. So that's the kind of progress that we have. And I grew up watching internet. I'm pretty sure many of you went through the same with me. We experienced the growth of internet age. I was sharing with my students in my degree classes that I'd like to classify our modern era into before social media, before internet age. When we had internet, but we didn't have social media, what it was like. And when social media came onto the scene, there was another round of disruption. And the way we are relating to the things around us right now has got to do with all these developments. So the changing landscape, as you can see this picture again, the skies are clouded, it's some grayish, and there's a lot of, if you look at this picture, there's actually a lot of new developments going on. Things are being built up because it's VUCA. What's VUCA? I think some of you may know this word, and if you don't, it's okay. I'll share with you what VUCA. It's a new acronym. It's not a word that you can find in the dictionary, but you can probably find it in the digital dictionary, and it will tell you what's VUCA. And I will share with you this four-letter word. VUCA stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. So if you look at this picture here, you can, there's two axes here. One axis actually asks you how much do you know about the situation, and the other axis is asking how well can you predict the results of your actions, right? Our current landscape, in fact, right now, this particular time that we're going through this pandemic, there's so much volatility, right? And we still don't know what else is going to happen. Is second wave going to hit us? It's moving quite rapidly, and we've never been in a pandemic as a community, as a whole world, and there's a lot of we know that there's going to be change, but what kind of change? Is work from home going to be a permanent thing? We have people. I was interviewing a group of learners, adult learners that was teaching online just 2 days ago. And I asked them, do you want to continue to work from home? And many of them tell me, no, they don't want to. They want to go back to the office. They prefer to be in the office, okay? And how do they feel about the future? And you know, when they're serving their customers, they're actually a corporate gift company, and they say the customers are not responding because they're just taking one step at a time, 1 week at a time, because there's just too many unknowns. There's too much ambiguity outside. What's the next advisory? Are we all going back to work on 1st of June? And will we be able to celebrate the different festive occasions coming 1st of June, right? In fact, right now we should be going to be celebrate Hari Raya, and I think many people cannot, our Muslim community can't visit their family members, and this is probably making a change for many people. They may not be able to handle it, and so there's a lot of complex factors, as you can see there. There is too many factors involved to make that decision. What's going to happen? The government had to make a lot of considerations for this circuit breaker because they need to care for the whole community, right? So our current landscape is really in a volatile state. There's a lot of uncertainty because of the economic changes that we're going through. And it's not just Singapore alone, it's actually worldwide. And there's just too many things that we have to foresee. So how does this relate to you? Which stage of life are you at, right? Are you at your first career? Are you at your second career? Or maybe at that, you are still going through your first career. So in our earlier section of emotional intelligence, I think maybe it's time to reflect what you want to do for yourself going forward. This could be a time when you want to consider taking on or preparing for your next step. In fact, personally, I planned my career transition. I wasn't a trainer from the beginning. Prior to being an academic lecturer and now a trainer, I'm a BD person. I'm a business development person. And 5 years ago, I decided to take the plunge to join academic teaching, something that I've never thought about. And in that journey of teaching academically, I have discovered that I like to develop a new career. And so here I am. I'm actually pursuing my master's. I'm pursuing my first master's in professional education, teaching adults or adult learning. And in fact, I'm embarking now on my new chartered waters as a community service worker, where I'm going to be starting my second master's in social work. So it's really about what you want for yourself. So if you look at that word prime on that slide there, it says first career is between 25 to 62. Personally, I think that you can have your second career much earlier. You don't have to wait till you're 60 to start your second career. You can start now. You can start when you're in your anytime actually, to develop a second career that you want to do for the rest of your career path, right? Your career runway. Find something that you want to do for yourself. Find something that you want to find, find something that you would have satisfaction in. Do it for yourself and still be able to enjoy this kind of this journey of doing work and finding pleasures in it, right? So with this changing landscape, how does it impact us and what is expected of ourselves, right? We have to work longer. In fact, this circuit breaker, when you work from home, initially I thought, oh, I could timetable myself to work only specific hours. So I think many individuals did that as well. But after speaking to many people, we do have meetings late at night. We communicate with different people because we need to get things done. And in fact, right now, many people are scrambling to get ready to go back for 1st of June in preparation or preparing alternatives for what's going to happen after 1st of June. We have our community of workers where, in fact, one volunteer of mine said to me that the number of hours that they work from home is much longer than what they have been doing at the office. She is working in the back end of a bank, and because of circuit breaker, the banks are giving approval for loans to be deferred. So they're doing a lot of paperwork. They're inundated with the request that she is working up to 11 o'clock at night because they are trying to clear as fast as they can. So working longer hours during work from home. It also signifies that, you know, with our government, Mr. Lee, our Mr. Prime Minister Lee have said before, we don't need to retire so early. In fact, many of us probably will find ourselves more useful, and also we will want to keep ourselves busy, especially if your kids are growing older. You want to continue to keep yourself occupied in many ways. It doesn't have to be full load, but you want to keep yourself engaged, and therefore you want to work longer. But the work may not be work in the sense of like you need that money, but you work to keep yourself involved with the community, with the society. And therefore, we are going to be working in multi-generation organizations. Today, if you go to visit, interview any companies, even at Google and a lot of corporate companies, you will find that you have baby boomers, Gen X, millennials, they're all coming in within one office. And because we come from different age groups, the way we are engaging with each other, there is a difference. And yes, we do have supervisors and managers who are much younger than us. In fact, where my volunteer systems, where my volunteer groups are, I am very motivated and encouraged because my younger peers are stepping up. And in fact, they're sharing with us how certain things can be done. They're much more savvy, and they help us to keep to be in trend and updated of what's going on. And definitely with Singapore being in a very cosmopolitan, there will be different cultures and different beliefs, and we just need to move along with the wave, right? So these new, as we said, that is VUCA. So how do you manage this volatility or this uncertainty, right? You start to be, you want to be really adaptable. You want to be able to manage diversity, and upskilling is definitely required because our skills needs to be constantly honed. Even as a sports person, you will be, let's take a sports person for example, yeah? Somebody who plays tennis, right? Every time you meet a new opponent on the court, you are challenged by the game that it serves to you, the way the ball is being balled to you, everybody's way of swinging the racket or serving the ball to you is different. And so you learn to manage and you adapt to it, and you become, you're honing your experience. So therefore, we need to continuously learn. You want to continuously find out what's going on so that you can keep in trend and you can continue to have that conversation with the people around you, right? Personally, a lot of people ask me, where do you find that energy to continue to do masters and attend courses and do so many things? Basically, I keep telling myself, I want to move forward. I want to be able to relate to different groups of individuals and be part of their circle. So it's again our mindset, how we want to manage it, and being adaptive actually helps. Okay. Now, so embracing change is actually quite key, and there will be change that you don't like because we are in a comfort zone. Are you ready to step out of your comfort zone? Would you step out of your comfort zone so that you can embrace the new settings, the new landscape that's around you? Like, you know, this disruption that we have from COVID-19, the circuit breaker, we are embracing technology even more. We learn how to live in a certain lifestyle. We do online shopping. This circuit breaker has pushed a lot of people who were resistant to technology, resistant to new way of shopping, they didn't have a choice. They just have to do it because that's how you will shop. I'll give you an example. There's this journalist, his name is Alan. He was posting on his Facebook page that he bought 5 pumpkins because he's never done online shopping before, and he didn't change or he didn't check his shopping cart before going out. So he ended up buying 5 pumpkins. And for him, that is an experience. But is it a bad experience? No, he just had to eat pumpkins for a few more weeks or to give the pumpkins away and share with his friends, right? But at least he now has a new experience, and he actually made a joke out of it. And there are people who, among his friends, actually shared with him that he's not alone because they've done similar things. A lady friend of his actually bought, she wanted 1 pack of bihun, and she ended up buying 1 carton of bihun. So embracing change and not demeaning yourself because of the incorrect actions or the mistakes that's created is very important. So don't be afraid to step out and embrace that change. So these keywords here I'd like you to have is we need to prepare ourselves. That's why you need to continuously learn. There are lots of courses right now from our government, and in fact, it doesn't have to be from government. You can pick anything you want to learn in Udemy. There's a lot of online classes going on right now. In fact, you can watch video and learn to cook something else or do something else. You could learn to draw. You could learn to make music. There's many things that we can do to prepare ourselves for the new changes that's going to be in front of us, because we can be adaptive. Human brains are made to adapt. We're not computers. We're not robots. Robots can be programmed to suit a certain environment, but we are human beings. We were given that ability to morph ourselves and do things in different environments. It's all about our mindset. It's all about whether we want to step out of that comfort zone. And if we get too comfortable, then you have a choice to stay in that comfort zone. But the world around you is not going to stay still. It's just going to keep moving forward. Then your gaps with the world will just get having a bigger gap by itself. Is that what you want? Or would you like to have a smaller gap so that you can move on and enjoy, I use the word enjoy, the new comfort. And in fact, there could be exciting actions for you to undertake that may give you even more satisfaction than what you have before, right? So I'd like to introduce you this VUCA, and how we can manage the change is create a vision for yourself, right? While VUCA can mean vitality, but VUCA can also mean giving yourself a new vision, right? Help yourself to look at things differently and paint a new, give yourself a new objective, right? Set new goals, set new targets. And if there is any uncertainty that you're facing right now in your life, how about try to seek some understanding? By means of understanding means you try to find connections or find to dig into the core of what is troubling you, and convert those anxieties and resistance within you to make something positive and impact the people around you. Make the change, right? And if you feel that it's complex, make it clear. Simplicity is a way to go, isn't it? So you can focus on what matters to you at this point of time, and trust your innate instincts, and trust the support around you, and you will find that you would be able to create things or create a new environment for yourself, because you could see things much better. Because by seeking clarity, you are actually being conscious, and I use this word again, conscious. You're very aware of what's going on, and you start seeking the truth, right? And you can see what's happening and how they're interrelated. And lastly, if we feel that there is any ambiguity, right, we can actually be more adaptive and see how we can fit in and close the gap, right? So when I was looking at this, I felt that this was very interesting, that VUCA is not just about, it's not an acronym that can just spell negative aspect, negative perception, but I'm happy to share with you that we can look at VUCA in a different way. So it's really not about how much you know, but it's the application, it's doing. So these other interpretation of VUCA that I've shared with you requires you to go out to learn from your peers, to share with your peers, and in fact, apply, keep doing, just if you do, then you will go through this experience. In fact, in adult learning, which is what our country is trying to encourage, and it's not just our country. In fact, if you look at the European countries, they do a lot of adult learning, because we just need to constantly increase our skills. Our bowl is never just full, because the water in our bowl can evaporate under sunlight and when we're exposed in this environment. And so we need to constantly fill up this bowl with new skills, new wisdom. All right, the evaporation will happen, but with new skills, new building, new adding on to the bowl, you will always be feeling fulfilled, right? So be conscious, develop your self-awareness is something that I definitely encourage, and you will enjoy this journey, and not be fearful as well. Discover your own interest. Circuit breaker time, or in fact, even if it's post-circuit breaker, maybe you want to take out your bucket list of what you want to do before, and start pursuing those interests. Maybe when you were younger, you wanted to play a musical instrument. It's never too late. In fact, I know there's an orchestra called Da Capo for late starters. They do teach older interested musicians or musicians to learn how to play and how to read musical notes. What is your new interest? What is the interest that you want to do, but you've been pushing it backwards, right? Is there some sports that you've always wanted to do, but you've been pushing and giving lots of reasons to not start? Put that up, bring that up, start exploring. So, and if so I keep saying this to people. In fact, in one of the courses that I'm certified to facilitate, is that we all have strengths. In our body, every one of us have all kinds of muscles. We have ability to do many things. However, because we are always in our comfort zone and we are often doing the same actions all the time, we forget how to use some of the muscles that we have. Remember earlier I shared with you that I have immobility issues, and in fact it's because I have trouble squatting down, and when I squat I actually feel that there is pain, and so I use other methods to resolve my immobility, and therefore I have forgotten how to squat, and so I have to relearn how to squat. So is it impossible to relearn things that you used to know how to do? No, it's what you want to get yourself comfortable with. If you say that you can't, then you can't. But if you really want to do it, your weakness can become your strength. If you know that you have the ability to do so, and we do, we are equipped, we are given that gift when we are born, and also by our Abba, we have been given that ability to do many things, but we have forgotten that we could do so. So if you see this word life, there are many things in our life. What is yours? What's the key word that you pick up from this picture, right? And do you want to find hope? Do you want to have courage? What is it that you need in your life? Ask yourself, what do you want to do? Do you want to have a fulfilling life? Or do you want to just feel negative all the time? I leave that to you, but I'm pretty sure you want to feel engaged in your life. So it's possible to change your circumstances right now, because repeating and doing the same thing day in, day out, you're not going to make any changes. But breaking out of your norms, getting out of where you used to be, can give you new insights. So change for me, in the last few months, even, in fact, it can be every day, every moment, we are actually changing. And it doesn't have to be negative. And even if it's negative, it's not always bad, because when the negative happens, there is a reason. It's helping us to learn. As long as we are prepared to face those negativity, those negative situations can become positive, right? So it's more about you being ready to receive whatever that comes to you. One door closes and the next door will open. I firmly believe in this, and truly I've not been shortchanged in my journey, and really praise the Lord for this season. In fact, I was having a contract of employment about a week ago, and my bosses of that contract told me that they have to terminate my service. And I was a little bit upset when they sent me that, although I saw it coming. I knew that it was going to happen. It was a matter of time, because they couldn't, they're having challenges maintaining the business afloat. And 2 days later, I actually received a phone call from a classmate and says, hey, we've got this, and I want to bring you on board to conduct these series of trainings. Can you tell me what your schedules are and what your availabilities are? And on the same day, another company, another friend of mine also texts me and says, I have jobs for you. And you know, this kind of scenarios, it didn't happen just only now. In the past years, I've been experiencing this door closing and door opening, and this door closing and door opening has led me to new grounds, and I fully understand why I was given a new door, and I also know why the door actually closed, because it's time to move on. I'm not upset that the door closed, but in fact, I've come to appreciate that when the door closed, it means that it's time to move on, and I'm ready to move on to the next chapter and to learn new things. And I have placed my faith in our Lord to take me on that journey. So this gentleman, Mr. Gabriel, he was a flight attendant and he changed his life. What about you? Are you ready to, embrace change and help yourself to seek new ground, seek new heights, find new excitement? So while facing all this change, do you need support? Yes, we do need support. And how you can find support? Your first line of defense is, of course, your family, your relatives, and you expand it. And if you really do need professional help, you can always speak to a career coach. You can speak to a counselor. In CFS, we also have career coaches that can help you. We do have counselors, and I'm pretty sure in our church, we also have such support. And if you do need this area of support, feel free to send Kwame a text message later, and I'll be happy to connect with you and support you as well. Here, I'm going to leave you some tips of how to manage and adapt yourself to the change, right? the highlighted words are going to help you. So do more than help, serve. And that's exactly what I've been doing for myself. I decide that I want to serve the community. We find ways to serve the community in small ways, in big ways. It doesn't mean that you have to go and help in a big project, you know, but by lending somebody, maybe a neighbor who needs a dish, a towel, some help to look after a kid for half an hour or so, you will be serving your community. There are many ways to serve, all right? Don't just think, do more than think, but plan. Right now, we are all going through, we could already have been gone through, we are moving forward. So don't just think, sit there and just think, oh, I want to do this, but never put into action. Make plans to get those thoughts into action, all right? And the next one is the same, you know, don't just dream about it, but really apply, get yourself into the momentum of doing things for yourself. And the next one is about perceive. Here, I like to also highlight that perceptions can be deceiving, and you need to also look at how to differentiate. Actually, the key word here is how can you pick up new knowledge in a positive manner and not interpret it in a negative way. It's very easy to cross that line, positivity and negativity. It's our mindset. If you have a positive mindset, like how I asked Kwang Ming in the earlier, before we start the second segment, how he perceived that picture, all he saw was the green, right? So if how you want to perceive what you have in front of you right now, is it really very volatile, or are you ready to tackle the volatility in front of you? Even if there's a lot of unknowns, can they be resolved? Can you find solutions to them? I'm pretty sure you can. So apply things that you read. Don't just read self-help books for the sake of reading. But if you do read self-help books, or you know you're seeking solutions, don't just read them. Practicing it. So I do Thermomix cooking, and the team manager actually said to us, if you watch somebody demonstrate a new recipe and you want to do it, practice it, because practice makes perfect, isn't it? So try doing it yourself, and the more you do it, the better you get. Adding is good, but you don't want to just add, as this sentence go. Multiplying, you want to grow it. By adding, you're just doing stacking on, but by multiplying, is one becomes, you want to spread the word, you want to grow it like molecular cells. You want them to just grow in abundance. So try to do actions that can actually help you to multiply and grow. Next would be to improve. Don't see it as negative. Rather, I would like to say that it's more layering of our abilities and increasing our abilities. If we were able to do 10 sit-ups, let's improve that. Let's make it 11, you know. But it doesn't mean that if you can't, it's bad. It's what you want to see yourself set the improvements at a pace that you can handle. And next would be stretch. Comfort zone is comfortable. When you snuggle on the couch, it's too comfortable to move out, right? And it's very easy to say, I'm okay, that's fine, I don't need any more. But honestly, you sure that's enough? Why not go just put your hands out and just stretch a little bit more to feel how that muscle feel. Push yourself a little bit more and enjoy that slight change. And you may enjoy that change. In fact, I would say that you would definitely enjoy that change. Okay, so the next one, similar to what we said earlier, don't just think, don't just daydream, but really pray. Pray to our Lord for that wisdom, for that ability to let you stay on top of the game and reconcile with the people around you. I'm doing a lot of reconciliation this circuit breaker. I'm learning to speak as well, right? Reconcile with also my own needs. And you can do that as well. And lastly, commit. Commit to make change. Because when you commit, it is a promise and it gives you that sense of responsibility. And lastly, I leave you this passage. I feel very blessed to be able to share with your church today. I was actually preparing the slides very late last night, and I was looking for pictures about change, and for some reason these words pop up in the screen. This particular passage pop up in the screen, and I highlighted the words here. Forget the former things, do not dwell on the past. See, I'm doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? And I hope that these will help you to chart new paths, new waters, and new grounds. And I'll hand over back to you, Kwame.
Thank you, Caroline. Yeah, just let me share the QR code again so that we can have the questions coming in. All right, just let me do that. Okay, so if you have questions, do send them in, and like what I say, we will try to pick them up as much as we can and as many as we can. So first question, I think during this time, those who are working from home, I think depending on the kind of work you do, so some may become busier, some may find that they are less busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so a question comes in that says, what if there's not much work for us to do while working at home? Do we have to feel guilty of being unproductive?
No, definitely not. You don't have to feel guilty, but in fact, use that time to, I think that is a signal that it's time for you to charter new waters, learn new things. In fact, this would be a good time for you to explore some short courses, maybe a few hour courses. There's lots of things to learn online today. In fact, you may not even need to learn, go too far. Within your own home, there are probably new things that hidden in some corners that you've bought a long time ago. Take them out and do them. You know, don't feel guilty, right? Because it's not your season.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I think that's a very good advice. Yeah, not to feel guilty, but to use those downtime, seemingly downtime, to upgrade and
Yes.
to do something like, like what you say, to discover some of your interests and develop on them. Yeah. Thank you. So to pick up from our last talk on emotional intelligence, I think that's very much needed when we go through changes and especially changes that we might not have in control. So there are some questions on emotional intelligence. Yes, I think this is important, this question. You may be aware of yourself, but how do you help others to be aware of themselves and their emotions?
Yes. I like to use this technique called probing, right? And I love to use this particular checklist, which is called the 5 Wives and 1 Husband. And the 5 wives are which, what, why, when, where, and how. Use these words to start probing with the people around you, or even for yourself. and help them to discover, because you don't want to be very instructional. You don't want to be very, how should I say it, like being a parent over them, but rather help them to discover, let them feel that they're empowered to know, and they're not being ridiculed. You're not judging them, but they can discover their emotions as well. And that's a much more powerful much more powerful discovery than you telling them, because when you tell them, it's like cutting up a wound and making them feel hurt. Is there a need for us to do so? No, I don't think so. But I think if you journey with them by helping them to unravel how they feel, you will also enjoy that journey itself, because you're supporting that person.
Thank you. Thank you. Maybe just a quick note from you, how to manage. I think this comes from parents, I believe, with teenage children. How do we help our children to manage this period as well? Because I mean, they can feel restless and sometimes frustrated at home. So what short tips that you can give to parents who might face this kind of problem?
So first of all would be, do you know what your kids need in terms of like which love language? And other than love language, actually there is another theory, we call that, it's actually called the heart strategies, where we actually want to hear them. Okay, H is for hearing. We want to also assure them. All right, we want to encourage them. So H for hearing, listen, hear their concerns. We want to encourage them. That's the E. We want to assure them. Okay, and we want to R for reward them. Okay, and we want to give them the time to also resolve themselves, because to be honest, can you be by their side throughout their lives? No, but rather maybe we can take this time to help them to learn how to make decisions, or to manage the experiences that they're going through. It's difficult as parents to let go, to be honest. It's hard, very hard, but it is necessary, because only by doing so, and you journey along with them, they will be able to grow, and they will be able to enjoy the challenges that they are going through.
Yeah,
because you're by their side.
Yeah, thank you. So it's about walking with them and providing support, emotional support as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Just another question. I guess for Asians, sometimes we find that to show emotions can be a sign of weakness. So sometimes empathy, kindness are seen as weakness if we are managing people, So
Yes.
how then do we manage that? How do we, in a sense, use EQ to manage that?
You're right. In our Asian community, and especially for traditional families, this is actually very challenging for traditional families to say nice words, because we have learned from our parents, and our parents in those days, they had hard times. So they may not even have that opportunity to enjoy the final things in life. So how do we undo that? I still remember this, my sister in Christ actually shared this with me one day, is that while our parents go through that, we don't have to. It's our choice to make the change, and you choose to learn how to speak out. So example, I watched my mom learn to say, I love you. In fact, it was difficult for me to say, I love you to my mom as well. Because we don't say it at home. And she, in her 70s now, is learning to say, I love you and I care about you. I'm sorry what I did. And that also encouraged me to do so. It's nothing embarrassing to learn new ways to do it. What you didn't do before and can't do before doesn't mean that you can't do it now. It's whether you want to take that step out of your comfort zone and just do it. And if people find that, oh, why are you doing it? They find it strange. But if you keep practicing, keep doing it, then it becomes a part of you, isn't it? Then it will not be strange anymore. They will just see it, you're trying to make a change.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, thank you. I think this has been very helpful for all of us. And if you find that what we have gone through is helpful, maybe you can give us a thumbs up on the YouTube, or whether like our the page, or to just at the comment column give us a thumbs up, so that we know that you are benefiting and find this really helpful for you. Yeah. So do show us and let us know that you have been benefited and useful to you at this through our talk itself. So really thank you, Caroline, for bringing us through how to manage our emotions, and you know, even during times of changes, how we can manage. I think at this point of time, it's really like two things coming together: the change and the uncertainty. I mean, even things are very fluid. Every week we are hearing new things and new
Yes.
changes, but at the same time, I think for many of us, especially as Asians, we are not very much in touch with our emotions, and now we are really need to learn how to be in touch with emotions, and then marrying that with all the changes. I think that can be quite challenging for most of us, and I believe that what we have talked about and what you have brought us through today will be helpful for most of us to both get in touch with our emotions and how to manage them intelligently, wisely during this time of change. And I really thank you for the ending verse, you know, really hearing what God says, to look to Him, and to see what new things He can do
Yep.
during this period of time. Yeah, I think that's very much useful to really be perceptive and see what God is going to do new things in our life, despite
Yes.
all the changes and all the uncertainty itself. Yeah. So once again, thank you, Caroline, for bringing us through for these 2 hours. Yeah. So I believe that some of us may have more questions, so you can send them in, and we'll try our best to address them as many as we can. Yeah. And some of you might be looking for more professional helps, and you might be looking for resources. And so I'd like to pass the time now to Patricia, and she will introduce us to some of the available resources that might be available from CFS itself. So over to you, Patricia. Patricia. Well, yeah, she's on.
Yes. All right. Thank you for sharing, Caroline, and the many good pointers and tips that we learned from the 2 sessions today. I hope all of you have a enjoyable morning and learn something new at this session. For resources, you can come to CFS. If if I can show you my earlier slides, you can actually contact CFS and attend our courses. We have many courses for you to attend that help you to prepare yourself for like what Caroline have touched on earlier, preparing yourself for change, how to be active and relevant. These 2 programs here actually help you in your transition, in your life transition, how to stay active, how to stay communicated, how to find your own purpose in life, and what will make you happy. And we have also courses on dementia. This is a concern that many older Singaporeans are having this disease. It's not a aging sickness. It's not normal. Dementia is not a normal aging process. It's a disease of the brain. So you need to understand what it is so that you can seek professional help, medical help as early as possible, so that you will not further progress, don't let it progress, because dementia cannot be cured. Okay, so you can only prevent and manage. And of course, we have many other programs that you can actually contact us. And if you're looking for jobs, contact us. We have a job portal for you to find out help and assistance and attend more talks. We're organizing more talks. In fact, just a few days ago, we had talks on using TCM to manage your pains. We have neck, shoulder pains all the time, working too much on the computer, doing too much household work, carry too heavy things. So over the years, we build up stresses in our body, and we have constant pains on our neck and shoulders. So we thought TCM could help, and it was a very refreshing session, and we learned a lot of acupressure points to relieve stresses in ourselves. And we also had talks on nutrition, how to build our immunity using TCM. So we have various programs, so come to our website to find out more information. And during COVID-19, if you need more help and resource to manage certain situation, you can go to the Ministry of Health website. They do have a dedicated portal for COVID-19 where you can see a list of organizations that can help you to address some of your concerns. So with that, I hope that you will have a wonderful weekend and a very fruitful Saturday morning with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, for the resources that we can go to, and for those of us who are at PLMC, maybe probably you'll be interested to know whether what the speakers have shared with us will be passed out to you, right? The PowerPoints, I'm sure a lot of you would love to have a set of that very helpful PowerPoints. So you'll receive the PowerPoints after this, right? We will send out the PowerPoints to you through email. And also we will love to hear from you, your feedback as well. So for the next few minutes, if you can, just help us to fill up the feedback, right? Same thing, just scan this QR code and give us your feedback. And this QR code will also be sent to you, emailed to you, so that if you have not enough time to do the feedback at this moment, you can do so when you receive this, the email. And please do help us by giving us your feedback so that we can improve on what we are doing, and so that other people that will be hearing the same talk next time will also benefit more from your feedback itself, right? So really thank you once again to Caroline and to CFS for this partnership together, and we do look forward to partner together in future, bring more useful talk to our people, so that they can be blessed and they can be helped in the different stages of their life. Yeah. So thank you, Caroline, thank you, Patricia, Madeline, and CFS, and of course, thank you to all of you for joining us this morning, and for your patience and for your perseverance and enjoying this whole talk. So we will see you again in our next talk. So for other talks, do go to PLMC website, right? Or to the today.plmc, I think, right? Or look out for the announcement in our bulletin itself, our e-bulletin, and do sign up with us for future courses. So thank you and goodbye. We'll see you again soon. Okay.
Thank you, Kwang Ming, and thank you, Kwang Ming and Caroline, for hosting this talk. Yeah.